I bodybuild because I love it. I love the discipline. I love the structure it gives my training, the intention it makes me tap into to go into with my training. I love the routine that it gives me with my eating and my habits around eating. I love the pursuit of putting muscle on my body and all the things that have to go into play to make that happen day to day, week to week, month to month, and year to year. Bodybuilding is total control, and through that control, I can let that carry over into other parts of my life, whether it be business, relationships, even just my overall thought process towards everything. I can relate everything to what the foundational basics of bodybuilding and mastering those basics over the years has given me.
So what's your story? How did you get started in bodybuilding?
Bodybuilding, I found it with my eyes when I was 17. And that's when it's like one of those things. If you ever remember yourself growing up and you just became attached to something the minute you saw it or heard about it or got a taste of it, whatever, like that was bodybuilding for me. Like, I know a lot of people that see bodybuilders, especially when I did in 2007, because it was a lot more niche and underground, and it was about mass. And the dudes that were at the top there was no classic physique, there was no men's physique, it was just all freaks. And for me, I was like, hell yeah, that's it. And everyone around me where I grew up was just like, no, that's not it. But that was my first exposition to it, and then I just always liked it. You know, college scouts for baseball had told me that I needed to be bigger, stronger, and faster, so I fell in love with pursuing that because that's what I was told to do. And then I think in the pursuit of that, I started to love bodybuilding more than baseball along the way. Not to the point where I quit baseball, because baseball was my first love, but I was starting to get really into the idea of bodybuilding, trying to come up with my own meal plans, writing my own training splits. You got to remember, this is 2007, 2008, 2009. There wasn't, I had dial-up internet at the time that barely worked, and it would be buffering on the YouTube videos I could get to load. There was no Instagram. I didn't know any coaches. I didn't know any bodybuilders personally. So it was truly, I had to kind of find my own way and just try stuff. And that was the fun of it too. It was just sticking to things, writing training splits and sticking to them, and truly learning about progressive overload based off, being consistent. 23 is when I was in a situation where I was able to meet a bodybuilder who had done shows at the gym I was at in South Lyon, Michigan, and this dude just had big arms, and I was like, man, that guy's huge. Looking back, he was a fit dude who was athletic. He certainly wasn't huge, but to me, in my perception at that time, and my size, he was. But I had done a little bit of research at that point, and I just walked up to him and asked him, I was like, hey man, I'd like to try a show, and I don't know how to do it. And he took me in the room, had me stripped down to my underwear, which at that point in my life, I was like, now that's super normal for me, and normal in gyms for people to do, but at that time, it just was very foreign, so I was like, I didn't know if the guy was a weirdo, I didn't know what was about to happen, and then, he took a look at me up and down, kind of pinched my love handles a little bit, and was like, you could do bodybuilding. Let's do it. And I was like, all right, cool. And I paid him in cash the next day, and he gave me a plan, and that was it. I did my first show 13 weeks later, and then fell in love with it. I got the bug right away. when I finished that show, and I got stomped, I got last place. Or no, I got second to last place, which I was actually proud of at the time, because I was like, I didn't get last, and I tried. You learn a lot about what bodybuilding actually is along the way. But he's like, would you do it again? And I was like, hell yeah. And I've always wanted to keep doing it, so here we are. But finding it was truly like just dumb luck when I was 17, because I needed to be bigger, stronger, and faster for baseball. So I got obsessed with training and eating. And next thing you know, I'm buying supplements in GNC. I'm watching bodybuilding videos. I'm trying to learn as much as I can about bodybuilding, and books that I was going to the bookstore and magazines, whatever I could get my hands on. I was trying to consume bodybuilding knowledge. And baseball was cool. I was still playing. I was doing well, but bodybuilding completely took over my life at that point, and it was something that never really left the back of my mind. From 17 to 23, 23 was just when I had a job, I had money, I could afford all of the things that go into bodybuilding, at least at that time, and I went for it.
Ready for the next one?
Yep.
So why are you doing this? Why do the documentary? Why have somebody kind of document your whole life and put it out there for the world to see?
Why not?